Hello and welcome to Nigerian Now on Echo Television International, where we will be keeping you updated with some of the happenings in Nigeria. You know the way we do it on the show, where we look at either politics, security, governance, economy, however the stories unfold. That is how we're going to be looking at it on the show. And today, just like every other day where we look at what is happening in Nigeria, we have quite a number of things we'd like to tackle. So we'll beg your indulgence. Actually, sit tight with us. Remember, you can be part of the show by joining us live on Facebook and on YouTube, and then you can drop your views as well on any of the story that you think is of interest to you. And I'll be doing the program together with Rachel Tanzi. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, Sarah.
All right. Today on the show, we will be looking at politics precisely, and also take a look at a little touch of security here and there, and then governance as well. And we are aware that on Saturday, the 11th of November, we had elections in Imo, Kogi, and also in Bayelsa State. Already, we have seen the result for Imo State, where we are having the governor, Hope Uzodinma, being re-elected again. And then also in Kogi State, we are having Odudu, where he actually emerged as the governor of the state. And then for Bayelsa, a coalition is going on, where we are having about 2 local governments where the results have been collated presently. And so you just keep your fingers crossed as we await the result for Bayelsa State. And I think it's important we look at why we will be having another fresh election in Kogi State. About 59 units election will be taking place on Saturday, the 18th of November. And then quite a number of questions on mine, Rachel. Why will INEC conduct another fresh election, despite the fact that we saw a lot of money going into the election? ICPC telling us that whoever is bent on doing anything, he or she have his or herself to blame. We saw number of security operatives that were being deployed, and then we saw even before the election we had I think arrest of somebody disguising as an army, and then we're still having the same case. It actually happened again in Kogi State on Saturday, where we saw some people posing as policemen, but then they were able to be identified because they had no ID cards, and then that is to show that some people were actually planning to cause chaos. And we are seeing mixed reaction, of course, because you and I remember the fact that despite all the preaching we did about the fact that people should stay clear of trouble, but some people already had made up their mind, and no wonder we're seeing another fresh election is going to be held in Kogi State again because of I think INEC came out to give reason why they want to do that, because some sheets were being completed even before voting would start. We had that case in Imo State as well on Thursday or so, where we saw the running mate in the PDP, the vice, coming out to say that some sheets were already completed before the voting. Now, quite a number of things to actually, will I say, lessons we need to look at this election, despite the fact that it seems as if 1 step forward, 10 steps backward, because conducting election again is quite a lot when you look at the issue of how this whole thing was being conducted, and the reason why INEC need to hold another fresh election in about 59 units in Kogi State.
Stella, it's interesting that despite a winner being declared in Kogi, we're still going back to this 59 units to conduct election and all of that. In as much as the reason behind it and why it's important to carry out this election has been clearly stated. However, we have had a winner being declared, there is a lead and all of that. So the question is now, is INEC trying to take this election to fulfill all righteousness, or have they already seen that it's not going to affect whatsoever? It is the final result of the election, or what is truly the aim behind this? Because I want to believe that INEC didn't just cancel the election because they want to. Things happened. They were ready for this 59 unit, but things led to the fact that this election have to take place again. In real sense, if you had that intention, then the announcement of the winner has to be postponed regardless of how long it takes, because it means election is still taking place in this place. And then it doesn't matter what you speculate as the numbers of voters. You can't just automatically feel that in this 59 unit, regardless of what will happen, regardless of the numbers that will come out, you have for sure that, okay, this is the winner, except if there is a clean-cut number when it comes to the total voters in this unit, that regardless of what may be the outcome of this if, let's say, PDP should come out winners, for example, or the Labour Party or the YPP should come out winners in this 59 unit, that regardless of their number added to the total number of votes in total for the election, that is, we will still be having the APC leading. But if not, I believe that there shouldn't have been. If you know that you still have plans that this 59 unit there's still going to be election, then in a lot of way the election in Kogi is not yet over. It is still ongoing, and therefore everything should still be put on standby to wait until every unit election result is being collated, and before we will know for sure what is the final output in Kogi State. However, we'll just have to wait and see how they plan on going about the numbers, or does INEC already have some algorithm that knows how to predict and just calculate and be sure that this is the numbers that will come back and nothing whatsoever will change. But I am looking forward to, as genuine as the reason for this election to still hold in 59 units, I believe that this is one of the things that INEC should have outgrown by now. There are electoral laws, for example. So if certain things tampered with the election outcome in certain unit, there should be a better way of going about it than redoing election, because whether we like it or not, it puts a hold to every other election, and that is what it is. It's like backwardness in a lot of ways, and better electoral policies or laws should come up concerning if something like this should happen again, because despite a declaration of a winner, it still means that election in Kogi has not finished, and whether we like it or not, it makes the electoral commission look confused in the first place, like what is happening.
Richard, this is not the first time. In fact, I'm not surprised that a fresh election will be conducted, because we were talking about this 59 unit, we're talking about 3 local government. Already coalition have taken place in 18 of those local government areas, so we are left with just 3. And if you listen attentively to the interview being that was done for the PDP gubernatorial candidate, talking about Dino Milai, he was categorically bitter about the whole thing, because he said it seems as if there was rigging. In fact, that was just the word to summarize everything. There was rigging, because he actually felt being left out. In fact, he was so quick or eager to actually point the finger at the ruling party that's talking about the APC, saying that they knew he had so much power in Kogi local government as well as in Kogi Central, that's in Lokoja itself. And no wonder that the APC did all that they had to do to make sure that he was in 3rd place. I think he had about a little over 46,000 votes. And then we had the APC leading, and then the SDP. But then quite a number of lessons, just like I said. I'm looking at the fact that this is not the first time INEC, during the general election, Richard, we had a number of polling units that were being cancelled. We had a number of polling units that a lot of people were being told to go and come back because certain things were not working. Then before they realized on Sunday morning already, there was the result, and a lot of people were surprised. How did you come up with this result? Because we are sure that we did not actually vote. And then, just like you say, why are they doing it? Is it just to fulfill all righteousness? But according to INEC, they just don't want certain individuals to feel being disenfranchised. So they want to be given the opportunity to use it to to pin down their vote and know that yes, we were part of the change that happened in Kogi State. But I feel that when a lot of people were looking up to INEC to actually clear their name during this election, we tend to see as if a lot of things still happen right under their nose without them doing certain things. If not, what reason whatsoever are you going to give the fact that Saturday was being given, you promised Nigerians that you are actually ready, you are up to the task? Of course, I agree with the INEC chairman when he said that conducting election is like conducting election in the whole of Africa, because of course we know our population is actually talking about, when you talk about human power, we have the election. So like conducting election in Imo State or Kogi State, maybe it's like conducting election in about 2 or 3 African countries. But then I am hoping that, just like I keep saying, Richard, the fact that if INEC know that certain things are beyond them, then they should speak out. Already we've seen that Yega Africa already even complaining about certain things that happen, irregularities and all the types of things that are not supposed to happen during the election. So right now, as it is, the eyes of the entire world, because believe you me, Richard, anytime there's an election in Nigeria, we tend to see that the whole world seems to be standing still, because a lot of African nations are looking up to Nigeria. Let us see how they are going to do this thing. Let us see how they are going to get it right. So I'm hoping that beyond just conducting election, because before, during and after the election, we tell a lot about this body, whether they are capable of doing what they should do. Already a lot of people are not happy with the way the election went by, because of course I'm not expecting opposition parties to be happy, but just like we keep saying, for every election there is a winner and there is a loser. But then we're seeing that a number of parties are saying they are going to court, just when we thought that let this election just take place and then let the will of the people prevail. But then we are still seeing that at the end of the day, we are still going to be having court cases eventually. So our fingers are crossed. We are hoping to see what is going to happen this Saturday, but we hope that all of these 59 units will be captured eventually. We are hoping that all of these 59 units will actually have the right to exercise their right, because it is their right to actually vote. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that, and we hope that INEC will not disappoint these 3 local government areas. Now, still talking about election, just like we said, coalition is going on presently in Bayelsa State. Yesterday, we saw that about 2 local governments were yet to actually have their result being collated in the center. In Yelugua, talking about the capital of Bayelsa yesterday. And INEC promised to reconvene today by 12, even though they actually didn't start by 12 as promised. Tension is getting high. We're seeing PDP supporters singing solidarity and all of that. Of course, when you have your followers, rooting for you, they'll do all that it takes. But we hope that at the end of the day, this will not lead to any chaos. But I keep wondering why INEC is still back to this body again. Do not keep to their part of the bargain, because we saw that happening even during the general election and also the 23 states that had their election, whereby INEC will say we will reconvene at so time, and then we don't see them coming by that time, and the tension gets high. A lot of people start speculating, what is INEC doing behind our back? Are they trying to rig the election? What is the problem? And all of that. But then presently, we are hoping that it will not go beyond today. We are hoping that by this time now, results should be out there. People should know their fate, even though we know the PDP is leading. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. These 2 local governments can actually make a big difference. So whether it's the governor of the state that will be re-elected again, or will be having a fresh governor, is what we're yet to tell out of this time. But we are hoping that INEC will keep to its word. This is what people want. INEC to be that body that is known for integrity, transparency and accountability above all things, because once you fail to be accountable of the people, a lot of people will feel that you do not have the right to be called a independent body, because you tend to allow other bodies to invade, and then you do not have a right or what to say on your own without people interfering eventually.
Sele, you're talking about time, and I realize that everybody, including agencies and people that shouldn't be affected by certain things, are affected by African time. And that is just how we grew up knowing lateness and lack of punctualities to activities. When we say it's 3 o'clock, we start by 5, and we keep saying African time. And then it just shows our incompetency on a lot of levels. There's no better way to sugarcoat it than put it that way, because it's 12. It's 12. What are you waiting? Why are you giving people room to speculate and think what they shouldn't think in the first place? And regardless, Sele, if you give this amount of time, things that shouldn't happen will happen eventually, because it will give time for a lot of background work. And this is where manipulations take place. This is where results are being changed. This is where everything that is not supposed to happen. Because by the time these results stay with certain people for a long period of time, you don't know the kinds of calls these coalition officers, these professors from the university, these people that are in charge of being responsible of one word or another. These are all period and times of influence that whether you like it or not, the more grace you give the more room you give exactly for people to do what they want to do with these results that it is in their possession. So yes, we might just be left in the position to speculate and just say this, that could happen and all of that. But either way, when you give time, it's 12, stick to 12 o'clock. It's not just about going to the polling units on time, because a lot of that was recorded that INEC was very punctual in this election. We saw that in the 2023 election. But I believe Nigerians would be more excited or would care less whether INEC comes by 10 o'clock, for example. I'm not saying don't be punctual, but if in the end we had a more transparent election and what people are more pleased about, then you will find out that, yeah, they came late, but it doesn't matter because in the end we had a free and fair election and this played out. But if you are punctual, for example, and then Nigerians are still worried, the major thing is that their vote counts and they are seeing you joking and playing with their votes, then it is a big problem and then it is a big issue. So yes, I'm just looking forward to A+ performance in every aspect for INEC, because they are capable, they are in the position to be able to give that grade of performance, and I just hope that they keep improving. But we still see past mistakes repeating themselves, and we wonder whether INEC have improved or not. But then, just as I said, we should wait for an honest report coming from people who will give their report concerning this election, and then it will be truly how it played out and what INEC got right this time around and what they are still yet to get.
Well, just like you said, let's not give room for people to start speculating what is not true. But we just hope that beyond just this election, we'll see this body, this commission, INEC, standing up for integrity.
True.
We hope that they will write their name in the sand of time, that people will remember this particular time that when we had this chairman, he actually stood for the truth. He actually did the right thing. Just like I said, election in Nigeria is very, very important in Africa and also in the world. So we want to hear positive comments coming from international bodies. We do not want to hear comments such as this election was being marred by irregularity, this election, this and that happened. I mean, this is not what we want. So we hope that as INEC takes some of the lessons from this off-season election, we will be having another off-season next year in Edo State as well. So we hope that INEC will actually learn what it needs to learn and then do the right thing. Now let's round up the show looking at the fact that in Lagos State today we saw that commuters have been stranded because some of the drivers over there are actually protesting, and the reason for the protest is the fact that it's a extortion. So imagine what it means, like coming out on a Monday morning and you're stranded to go to work, because either most of the people who are actually going to work are not even living close to where they work. So a lot of things actually are happening, and you begin to ask questions, why the extortion in the first place, Rachel? These are drivers that come out very early. For those who live in Lagos State know how life is in Lagos State. You have to wake up as early as some people wake up as early as 3 a.m., 4 a.m. just to beat time and to beat traffic, and then on getting there you see that there are no cars. In fact, there are very limited numbers of drivers actually plying the road. So you begin to ask, how can we provide solutions to things like this? Because it's really not a right thing for us to be doing, where we see that drivers are complaining of extortion. And this is not the first time we're hearing extortion happening. It's either they say this union is extorting, they meet with LASMA is collecting, and then quite a number of things are happening. So you begin to ask the question, how can we then get it right beyond just Lagos State, but even to the other, 36 states as well, and also the FCT?
Sele, Nigeria by nature is a very exploitative country. We thrive on exploitation, and then we live on it. And then we can narrow it down to extortion. It's still exploitation. We can narrow it down to everything, be it at the workforce, where we see labor fighting for minimum wages every single day. There's just exploitation at every corner of Nigeria, from the top to the bottom, at every level, in the government agencies, in the private agencies, in law enforcement and agencies, in every corner of Nigeria, like we thrive on exploitation, and then we can bring it down to extortion. Now, the reason this thrive is that, first of all, is knowledge. This extortion happen because at some level we don't know our rights. And then there's also an overstepping of boundaries, and then there's also power drunkenness, if I must put it like that. Because for these last mile agents, these are law enforcement at the Lagos state government level. And when you are extorting these drivers, you are overstepping your boundaries, because you are put in place for a certain thing. There's no doubt. Nobody will say there's no need for them to be there. But then, are you doing your job, or you are overdoing it? Because if drivers are getting to the point where they are protesting and there are people being stranded, then you should know that there is an overstepping in power. People are going beyond their jurisdiction. We've seen situations where the police in Nigeria is doing the job of the Federal Road Safety, where the police is doing the job of the VIO and things like that, instead of doing their job. Why? Just to exploit, just to extort money from road users. You will see the soldier doing the job that he's not supposed to do. And I believe this is what extortion is all about. When you are doing what you're not supposed to do just to be able to get from the person that you are trying to victimize here, and whatever the case is. So I'm just looking forward to where an average Nigerian know their right, and they're able to fight this extortion. And then also the government should be able to step in and say enough is enough, because I keep saying a protest is to make the government listen. Exactly. So I hope that the Lagos state government listen, and then this last mile agent don't do what will make drivers to go on protest. And of course, we know how Lagos is. A lot of people are going through tough time just by this protest.
Of course. Well, I just hope, Richard, just like you said, that this has gotten to the ears of the Lagos state government, and this is not the first time we're having issue with last mile. Then you begin to ask, is the government not aware of what this body is doing? We hope that they call them to order. It's quite sad that we always wish for the good old days where everybody knows what he or she is supposed to do at a particular time. Well, Richard, I really thank you for doing this program with me.
You're welcome, sir.
And also to our viewers and supporters at home, thank you for keeping a date with us on Nigeria. And until we come again tomorrow, to have a blessed day ahead.